So my question is, Senator Trucco, did you have Trisha Stanley murdered?
Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ludico. I'm a 3D character artist and animator. If you enjoy content like this, seeing characters go from start to finish, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share them, leave a comment. But that's only if you actually enjoy this type of content, But I really appreciate it. I'm not forcing anybody, please. I'm not like my video or else. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. I just really appreciate it. But thank you so much for clicking on the video once again. And let me just get into it. There's a few things I want to talk about, really. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna title the video yet, but then I do know I kind of want to speak a little bit about the process that I go through when I'm sculpting, and things and mistakes I tend to make, and basically just overall better practices that I feel like should be taken into account when you're sculpting or before you start sculpting, just like a little prep before the sculpting and the actual what to keep notes of when you're sculpting the character that you want to sculpt. I'll be speaking mainly with reference here, maybe for human characters. Maybe you want to sculpt a celebrity, something like that. So as you can see in the background, this is a time-lapse video of how I sculpted, or rather my attempt at sculpting Viola Davis, who's a famous actress based in America. And I feel like I was close, but then I wasn't really there, and I think I'll discuss some of the reasons as to why I feel like I didn't quite get it, but then I feel like I was close at the end of this little commentary that I'm making. So okay, what's a good practice? What are some good practices to take into account before you start sculpting? Well, first things first is to gather up some reference. Gather up your reference and of what you want to sculpt. Mainly I'll be talking in terms of maybe human characters here. Maybe you want to sculpt a celebrity and likeness sculpt. First thing you have to do is definitely gather up some reference, and it matters how you gather up the reference. For example, let's say I'm sure we're very aware that people age, so okay, take into account maybe you want to sculpt Jackie Chan. Currently he's I think he's in his 70s at the moment, but then you'll be like, okay, I want to sculpt Jackie Chan, so as he is at the moment, at his current age. So what you do is go online, and then you definitely find images of what he looks like now to make your life easier. And what did he look like when he was, maybe you want to sculpt him once he was in his younger years, maybe in his 30s, 40s. Then go online and then find reference that's specific to that, because it'll be easier for you to just go straight to the details that you want. And so that's basically, I think that's that's basic knowledge for most artists, is find reference to what you want to make. Even if you're an environment artist or a creature artist, they tend to have references. For example, Glenn Keane, he mentioned that when he was doing the character design for the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, he had reference pictures of buffaloes, gorillas, just to get inspiration from. So do the same thing whether you're character designing. And then I feel like the most important thing after you get your reference that most people don't really mention is just get reference and it's enough. But then it's not enough. Once you get your reference, study your reference. Don't just go straight into the program okay, now I can begin. Now take some time before you open your program. I feel like this should be good practice. Take some time before you open your program. Look at the references. Just look at the reference. So really study your reference. In the case of maybe let's say you're sculpting Will Smith, I think the first thing you definitely want to do is look at, okay, what are his most defining features? You feel me? Okay, broad forehead. And one thing I specifically remember from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air are his ears. People they always make comments about his ears. So those are things you definitely want to nail down and take notes of. Okay, broad forehead, his ears are very prominent, things of that nature. You feel me? So yeah, maybe distance between his eyes, how chiseled is his chin, things of that nature. You feel me? And that's definitely the right way to go. And if you can, what's also gathering up your reference, so this is before, if you can also find them in different lighting. I feel like how the picture is lit would definitely help you see some more features that are more minuscule or harder to notice. So the lighting conditions also do help. Now, so you've gathered up your reference, you've studied your reference, and now you're in the program. You're sculpting. First thing you want to do is block out, and people block out differently. They'll use maybe different spheres, different shapes, primitive shapes to block out their character, or some people just a mistake that I tend to make is I remesh the sphere too early before I get the basic shapes down. Because I've noticed with like some sculptors who are more seasoned, you know, be they using ZBrush or Blender, they really know how to make the character look like it's finished even from like an early stage. You can tell from the beginning that, okay, I think this person is sculpting Oprah Winfrey. This person is sculpting, you know, Schwarzenegger from the very beginning of the video, or from the blog. You can tell, okay, this person is sculpting so person, or this person. It looks like them already in the block out phase because they got those main features down. You feel me? So that's something which I tend to fail. If I'm being honest, that's one of the mistakes I make. I remesh too early, even before the character looks like the final product I want it to look like, or like the final person I want it to look like. So I remesh way too early. So if you can, just spend some time in that block out phase, really, and this will be easier made if you study your reference beforehand. Now you're still sculpting. Now we're like into the sculpting phase, right? You're like still sculpting. Take a break every now and then. To kind of refresh your eyes a little bit, because like I said, as much as you may have studied the reference beforehand, there's still certain things that you're going to miss, and you might discover them as you're sculpting. But those things become harder to see if you've been looking at the sculpt for a really long time, and maybe you just want to refresh your eyes, take a break, and then come back to it later. That really helps. Also, I think you noticed somewhere in the video, like if you watch it all the way, and there's somewhere I just threw some basic colors in just to see what she looked like, because in the reference I was using, she had makeup on, and I was like, okay, like how best can I better visualize what she looks like? So I kind of like, you know, put some quick vertex colors on it just so I could get an idea. So methods like that can actually help. And another thing you have to note while sculpting a face, there's usually that awkward phase, but then you just have to keep like, you know, keep looking at the key features, if I can say. Keep looking at the features, but okay, what about them is different? You might find that maybe some people's lips might have the same width, but the curve that they make is very different. So always keep notes of stuff like, you know, that maybe the brow ridge, like how low or high is it, you feel me? And when you're making certain adjustments, it's not just about making the adjustment. Consider how you're gonna make the adjustment. For example, let's say in the block out, maybe you made the forehead a little bigger than it actually is. So like, how do you go about correcting it? Do you just shrink it from the top, or will you just bring the brows up? But then that can affect the whole thing, and that might affect the whole appeal of the character as well. So be careful on how you make certain adjustments while you're sculpting. Determine whether you shrink one thing or make one thing bigger, if that makes sense. I just don't know how to like properly illustrate this, but careful how you make your adjustments when adjusting the whole thing, because certain features will affect another. If you push the eyebrows up, it also increase that distance between the eyes and the nose, and the whole character will like, you know, look different. But then if you shrink from the head, from the top, nothing else is going to be affected. So just know how to make your adjustments. Yeah, because one thing will affect another for sure. And okay, yeah, definitely. This is a point. I feel like this is a very important point. A face without when you're sculpting a face, especially, certain times a face without certain features such as like eyebrows or like a beard would definitely look different, and it's hard at times to find reference of a person without like nothing at all, like shaved head, no eyebrows, no this. So at times the sculpt might look a little weird, so you have to visualize good. Okay, what would this base sculpt look like if you had eyebrows on or off? So basically that's one of the key things that you have to do. It's learn to observe. The skill of observation is a very important skill, because it comes in handy for every artist, like, you know, every art discipline. Animation, like I said, I also do some animation, so I'm usually very observant. I observe not just when maybe let's say I'm animating, I'm sculpting. Even when I'm like walking outside, I'll be walking, like, you know, I try to know it's good. Okay, I'm walking, like how's my weight shifting as I walk? You feel me? Like how can I exaggerate this if I was animating a walk cycle? You feel me? So things of that nature. The skill of observation is a very important skill to have as an artist in general, not just for sculptors, but for across the, you know, board. Like how is this person's face structured? So you observe. So it's those tiny details that can actually help you. And I feel like that's how caricature artists approach it as well, because they know how to pick up features that they can exaggerate and it will look well. Like you'll find this over cartoon like in this over cartoony version depiction of Obama, or maybe just anybody famous, it's good. Okay, that is so and so. Maybe that's, I don't know, Robert Pattinson, that's Daniel Radcliffe, that's Kanye West, that's Jay-Z, but everything is exaggerated. But you know who they are because they got those key features down. So always, those key features, learn to observe, like, what are they? Some are very prominent, some are very minuscule, some are very, so learn to observe for every artist. And so so I think that's one of the things I wanted to, have my home. The skill of observation is very important for any art form, not just sculpting. And one thing that can make your sculpt seem like it's far from finished, but then it could be that, but then maybe you've already finished it, but then you can't tell because the face is too symmetrical. No face is actually symmetrical, you feel me? So at certain times you'll be like, okay, you nailed it, but then it still looks kind of off. Definitely it's the symmetry, because at times you can adjust it like afterwards. Maybe if you want to do like a retopology, I recommend you do that afterwards. Break the symmetry afterwards with some shape keys, because it'll make the model easier to like rig if you're gonna rig it. But then if you're not gonna animate it whatsoever, you can break the symmetry after you've finished everything. Like, okay, maybe one eye, maybe one eye is lower, things of that nature. The hairline, one side could be like higher, one side is lower. No human being is perfectly symmetrical, so always keep that in mind too. So break the symmetry. And yeah, I feel like that's pretty. I feel like I've exhausted everything I wanted to speak on. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of mistakes I make. Like I remesh too early. I jump into the sculpting phase too quickly. I don't study my reference enough. So I feel like if you guys can work on these things, it can definitely help improve like how you sculpt, rather just the general workflow of how you approach a certain thing. And then later on, it just becomes, and certain things come with practice. So just practice, and it will definitely help improve. And once again, learn to observe. The skill of observation is very, very important. So just I'm hammer that home. I just want to hammer that home. And thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. I don't think I have anything else to say other than thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, I was supposed to post this in the morning, but I didn't really know how I was gonna express myself. I admit that I still have a lot of work to do. I'm not very good at this commentary thing, but then I will definitely keep improving. I'll do my best. And if you made this far into the video, I really appreciate it. Leave a like, share the video, comment, or share to a friend who's interested in stuff like this and things of that nature. And enjoy the rest of the video. Have a good day. Thank you.